Hi, everybody. My name is Mackenzie Teal, and my research topic is disciplining children and the differences between mothers and fathers' parenting styles. Um, and I wanted to let you guys know that I chose this topic because I grew up as one of five, and I was one of the oldest. So, watching my parents parent all of them over the years, and I have a lot of cousins, so like watching my aunt and uncles all parent their kids, along with throughout all of college and like late high school, I did a lot of babysitting, and then in college, I did a ton of nannying for a bunch of different families. So I've just been around a bunch of different parents and a bunch of different styles of parenting. So when I saw this on the discussion board at the beginning of the semester, I thought it would be a great topic for me to research. That really did catch my interest. So, moving on to my literature review portion of the presentation, I found that there were three main topics throughout all of the research that, like the background research that I did. And those three topics were types of parenting, types of punishment, and who was taking the survey. So, like the parents or the children. Okay, so the first of the three main topics that are like subtopics that I thought I found through all of the research that I did on my own before I did my study was types of parenting. And so those were authoritarian, authoritative, indulgent, uninvolved, or negligence. And then on top of that, there was helicopter parenting, nurturing, and laid back. So these were all kind of the common themes throughout. And each of these different types of parenting has different effects on the children. In the way they choose to parent, and those effects that can be caused are with decision making, independence, and self-confidence when it comes to the children. And then now going into different types of punishment, the two main themes were kind of verbal punishment and nonverbal punishment, or like physical punishment, or as some of the articles said, corporal punishment. And going off of that, kind of with like the verbal, there was name calling or taking away privileges or that kind of stuff. And then on the other hand, it was like spitting, slapping, hitting, or not spitting, I meant spanking, slapping, and hitting, or like soap and that kind of stuff for disciplining their children. And the last theme that I noticed was who was taking the surveys. So, was it the parents or was it the children? In a lot of the research that I looked at, it was the children. But then in two instances, the parents actually got the chance to take the surveys as well. And a lot of the times, the children upplayed kind of how they felt about their parents, like with aggressiveness and all those kind of behaviors. And then the parents actually downplayed it in a sense where they were making themselves seem better than what their children were actually stating in their own surveys. And now I want to go into the methods and analysis portion of the research project and paper. And so for my methods, the first thing I did was I kind of got a scope to see who would be willing to participate. I asked family. I reached out to different coworkers. I asked people that I nanny for, that I've babysat for. I even put like a little blurb in a Facebook group that I'm a part of, and just to kind of get a good range of people, I did that. I was expecting more people to actually take the questionnaire than they did, but that's okay. I got five males and 10 females. And so after I asked all those people and got the responses, I created the questionnaire. And I did this by first asking demographic questions, and then going into more discipline questions and like what type of parenting they think they are, either strict, structured but nurturing, laid back, or then they could write in their own. And for this, I put it into a website called Survey Planet and then just sent everybody out the link. And then for the analysis portion, I got to look at the results. And I did this by sifting through all of the results that I got off of the questionnaire on Survey Planet. And it made it really easy because I was able to break down all of the number type questions that I asked, like the yes or no's, and then like their demographic questions. And I was able to do that in a quantitative form and just write it all out. And then I also asked qualitative questions and like asking them to elaborate onto why they do certain types of disciplines or why they don't, and kind of explain off there. So then with that, I was able to kind of find common themes and then give examples of males and females, so mothers and fathers, which was very useful in my research paper. I found that there were 11 people who responded and considered themselves structured and nurturing. 2 considered themselves laid back, and 2 decided to write in answers because they didn't feel like they fit any of the different categories. Common themes that I found for the structured but nurturing parents who participated in the study was that they do not like to use any sort of physical aggression towards their children when disciplining. So they do not spank, they do not use hot sauce or soap for naughty language. There was one person, which is kind of an outlier, who did use hot sauce, but she only did so because her kid was biting. And she was at a loss and didn't have anything else to do because that child was like hurting his siblings. And also going off of that, I found that these group of participants did like to use timeouts, but they didn't call it that. They just called it like a quiet time or a quiet corner or something to that sense. Or they would like have them sit on the stairs with the parents present. And it would just be a time for them to cool down, for them to think about like what was going on, how they thought, and vocalize their emotions. And I thought that was kind of a cool concept. And then also going along with that, I found that these structured but nurturing parents who believe that this is their style of parenting said that they have a set of rules and boundaries that their kids are to follow if they're old enough to understand. And they use positive reinforcement by telling the kids like, I love you, or good job, or that kind of stuff when they're actually doing things that the parents want to see them doing. And I also found that the communication between the partners is very, very good in the sense that if they want to if they want to discipline their children, they are on the same page. And if they're not on the same page, they talk about it and they come to an understanding, and then they are able to discipline their children. And then there were 2 participants who described themselves as laid back, and it was one male and one female, and they both kind of said that they weren't really consistent, and they didn't choose to do the same thing all the time. It just kind of came down to like the circumstance or which child it was or that sort of thing, and that they had rules in place, but that they were kind of more lenient. And the mother who considered herself laid back actually said that she trusts her daughters and that she has a really good relationship with them. And because she trusts them, she thinks that that's why they have the better relationship, and that it's more of a parentship and a friendship. And I thought that was kind of a cool approach and like a different way to look at it. And then the common theme that I found with the 2 people in the study who decided to write in a different type of parenting style that they thought they fit into they kind of just explained that for both of these people, they explained that some things they do that they are super strict about, other people would be like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you strict about that? And then other things that they don't care about, other parents are probably strict about. And so in that sense, it's kind of, they pick and choose their battles, and that sort of thing. And that's like the most common theme that I found with that. So in conclusion, for the study, I kind of wanted to touch on what went well, what didn't go well, and that sort of thing. And so I think that there could have been more participants and the generalizations would have been a lot stronger. And I felt like it would have been easier to differentiate between fathers and mothers type of parenting, but with such a small group of participants, I wasn't really able to pinpoint how fathers parent differently than mothers, as there were responses similar in each category for each different type of parenting style. I think that overall I did get a lot of good information because the participants who did choose to participate in the study did give great detail in their qualitative responses. And I think that this is a great basis for more research to be done. Obviously, in the future, more participants would be better. But for now, I was able to gather a good amount of information on parenting and as to why people choose to parent the way that they do. I thought that overall, this whole process was super interesting to me because I haven't really had to do anything like this before. And so actually being the one to create the questionnaire, create the actual focus of the topic alone was super neat. And then being able to reach out to participants and honestly, like, see how hard it is to get people to participate in studies was super, like, I don't know, eye-opening to me. And it makes me give researchers a ton of credit because it is a hard thing. And you need consistency and you need people who are willing to do what you're asking. But overall, like, the people who did choose to participate in my study were super awesome. They gave great responses, and this was definitely a huge building block for me personally in research. And like in the future, I definitely see myself doing a lot more in depth and like collaborating with others to get like have better quality and just like get those higher numbers so that the generalizations and the findings can be that much better. But overall, I think that this course and this all the topics were super interesting to me, and the communication between family and everything is just near and dear to my heart because I'm super family oriented, and overall I had a great time doing this research project.